Ken Watanabe, not boring. Not a boring character. Everybody else is boring. I don't care about your petty-ass problems. I don't care about the mom, the eco-terrorist. All right? I don't care about 11.
Eco-terrorist mom.
The mom is an eco-terrorist, and at the end of the movie, we're supposed to believe she died a hero. This is all her fault. Billions are dead.
Oh, Jesus.
Spoilers for Godzilla.
Look, man, as long as you don't spoil the fights, all I know is Godzilla wins in the end. The movie's named after them.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking great. Hello, mortals, monsters, and myth lovers alike. You're listening to Podcast of Poseidon, where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture by reading Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This is Chapter 21, The Hydra. I'm your co-host, on loan from the Hunters of Artemis, Darien and Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, hailing from Monster Donut, DJ.
How's everybody doing today? We did a bonus episode of Monster Donut. I will say, however, Monster Donut's donuts just aren't as good as Krispy Kreme donuts.
They aren't. This is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did do a whole episode on Monster Donut and monstrous mascots for various fast food franchises, which you can listen to right now in our Bunker 9, which is that exclusive feed for our patrons.
Heck yeah. I actually very much enjoyed that episode. That episode was a good time.
Yeah, it was super fun. We had thoughts about pizza.
Plenty of thoughts.
But, hey, don't leave right now and listen to that episode because you're listening to this. We're going to talk about the Hydra.
This episode. We're going to talk about the Hydra and its place in many stories. It showed up in so many fucking stories.
But first, let's swing by the camp store to make sure we have everything we need. Hey, y'all. Just me today. We don't have any of our usual stuff, but I want to take this opportunity to tell you about an amazing new podcast you should definitely get ready to listen to. It's called The Standby Line, and it is hosted by God's Your Patron, friend of the show, and past guest, Tim O'Connor. This is going to be a theme park podcast that'll cover all of your favorite theme park attractions and rides and experiences from the perspective of theme park fans and aficionados, Tim and his co-host, AJ. I have gotten a sneak peek at the first episode, and y'all, it's a riot. It's so fun. It's so informative. If you've ever thought, I love theme park podcasts, but what I'm missing is talking about Walt Disney's death in the first 6 minutes, this is going to be the show for you. We will certainly be sharing links to the show when they are available, but in the meantime, check your favorite podcatcher for the Standby Line and subscribe. And congratulations, Tim, for this new endeavor. I'm so excited to be able to hear more. That's everything. And now, on to the show. All right, so DJ, what do you remember about the Hydra from Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters?
So, from what I could remember, is they were just going through the forest. Obviously, they just ran. I think it was, God, all those states in New England just are the same to me.
They're so small. They're
so small, and they're just like all compact, and they're just like you could cross the border, and it would look exactly the same. I want to say it was downstate New York, maybe somewhere in Jersey, but Tyson's like, no, I'm hungry. And he leaves, and he comes back with donuts, and Percy and Annabeth are like, dude, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And then they see the Hydra coming down with a t-shirt that says, I'm a Monster Donut Kid.
Yep. And
he just was kind of there. Honestly, he didn't provide much to the story.
Yeah.
It's normally like a Hydra shows up and that's a big bad monster. And sure, it was a kind of a big bad monster, but it showed up. Percy accidentally cut off his head, and then it grew another one. And at that time, it had 8 heads. Mm-hmm. And then Clarice showed up with her ship and just bombed the fuck out of it. And then that was the end of the Hydra for like the entire series of all of Rick Riordan's books.
Yeah, we don't see the Hydra again.
Do not see that Hydra again. That thing was put in the dirt pretty quick. Quicker than you hear about most stories of the Hydra.
Yeah. In terms of Hydra takedowns, Clarice definitely has the best approach, and we will discuss that.
I'm certain she's got the record, you know?
Yeah, I just timed it. At least the record from when you enter the fight to when you finish it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think plot-wise, the Hydra serves to reunite Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson with Clarice because
Yeah.
she kills the Hydra and then's like, all right, you can come on my ship
As prisoners.
basically. Yeah. Which we were wrong about the kind of ship it was.
Yeah.
We were very wrong. And now that, you know what? Now that we're bringing it up right now, I'm going to look up and clarify. I would like to, on the pod, offer a redaction and this very clear correction of the ship. So,
I think we called it a U-boat, which even when I was saying it felt wrong.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's correct. It is an ironclad, not a U-boat.
Yes.
Thank you to friend of the show and God tier patron Tim O'Connor for sending us that correction after the Sea of Monsters episode came out. I appreciate your passion and your continued support.
Yes. Yeah. Clarice showed up and took them prisoner, and then that was the end of the Hydra in
End of the Hydra.
all of the Half-Blood books, which was a little wild.
It is, yeah, especially
How prevalent the Hydra is in like anything else.
kinda, yeah. I guess to be fair, in Greek mythology, the Hydra is kind of just a checklist on the overarching myth in which it appears in, because the slaying of the Hydra is one of Hercules' labors.
Yeah. And like that's the thing though, is that whenever we have another game that has like references to those labors, like the Nemean lion or the other animals he kills, such as in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you go through and you kill a lot of those lions, I think, or not lions, but like the boar that he kills, the Nemean lion, probably a couple more, and they're fucking tough fights. Even if you're like over leveled, they're still tough fights to fucking do. Sadly, the Hydra wasn't a boss in that game, which I was a little bummed out. Maybe in one of the DLCs, but yeah. But yeah, there was like, even just like the Nemean lion was probably the hardest one, or the boar. One of those two were just like, they were difficult as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, the Hydra definitely doesn't feel like it has quite the gravitas in Sea of Monsters. Like, don't get me wrong, we're told that this is a very dangerous creature, especially because it doesn't look like Percy. Well, here's the problem. I never once in these books think that Percy, Annabeth, and whoever's the third member of the trio at that time are not going to get out just fine.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
They're not going to get out clean.
Like, it's fine.
They're going to have something wrong with them by the end of that fight. And by the end of the whole fucking thing, they're like so beat to shit.
Yes, they're going to get beat up, but I'm not worried that they're not going to win the fight or escape.
The only time I thought that was in Tartarus. I was really fucking worried in Tartarus.
Yeah. Oh man, I got thoughts, I got opinions, but yes, so that is true. But I guess at least in the Olympians, Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, it is very much like, I'm riveted usually, but I'm not worried. The Hydra interaction definitely wasn't something I was riveted in. It does, now that we're talking about it now, have me a concern. It have me a concern. Is the Hydra a child? Did they kill a baby Hydra?
I mean, honestly, maybe. Like, he could have, like, but that's also the thing, is...
Monster Donut Kid.
Monster Donut Kid. But that's, I think, did it say Monster Donut Kid or Monster Donut Monster?
I'm a Monster Donut Kid.
Okay. That's the thing, though, is, like, I would absolutely wear I'm a Krispy Kreme kid. I would, 100%. Or, like, whatever.
Was the Hydra wearing it ironically?
I would wear it unironically, ironically, if that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, the kid is ironic, but I am absolutely a Krispy Kreme kid.
That's true. I did buy a print that says, live, laugh, lurk, and it is all cryptids, and it is ironically unironic.
Yeah. But that's also the thing you gotta come into question, is a monster that was just, came back from Tartarus, is that a baby monster?
Interesting. Because I think in the book, they do capitalize Hydra, which implies that it is the Hydra. Which means you're right, it would have just gotten pulled back from Tartarus.
So that, I mean, even then, that Hydra is still thousands of years old.
That's true, so it's not
because
really
the Titans are thousands of years old and they were reformed.
True.
Except for Atlas, he never was done in.
Oh, we will get to Atlas. We will
know.
fucking get to Atlas. I think, yeah, that tracks. So the weird thing with the Hydra is that when you in Sea of Monsters, when you cut off its head, not only do 2 more grow back, but another Monster Donut franchise pops up somewhere.
I love that.
Now, but the thing is that when they encounter it, it does only currently have 7 heads.
So that means that there are 7 locations.
That's not a lot.
I mean, if we think about it, Chicago Connection here in Idaho is only in the Treasure Valley, and it has like 7 or 8 locations.
Okay, I guess we're just not talking about. And
so
it
could just be a regional thing. It is not a fucking national enterprise.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's such a weird bit. Like,
this is really weird bit. Like, there's a lot of things that he does in these early books, and I'm like, that was a weird bit.
It's like a weird joke about like how Starbucks just pop up overnight, and I'm like, ooh, this is a real 2000s. Yeah. 2007 observation we're making here today. It's not even a bad one. It's just a little bit like, okay. But I guess now we're just like so accustomed to franchises. Yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah. I'm like, there's one coming up there.
Like, there it is. Great. Now it's more convenient. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but there it is. It's very convenient. They're right across the street from each other. If I'm going in either direction, I don't have to cross traffic to get to it.
There was there's one in the parking lot and then one in that Albertsons in the Albertsons parking lot. Like,
literally in the same Albertsons, right there. Yep. Mm-hmm. So.
Or the fucking Target.
So the Hydra. As I said earlier, the Hydra slaying of the Hydra is one of Hercules' labors. And is not actually something that Perseus does in Greek mythology, and I'm saying that because
that happens in the Odyssey.
Yeah, also not what happens in the Odyssey. But for a very long time, I thought Perseus was the one who killed the Hydra.
I knew, like, even like outside of like the movie Hercules, I knew like it was a bigger name, and I'm like, who the fuck is Perseus? Like growing up. You know, like, I can't remember. I think it might have been a Hercules movie that I see. Not Disney's Hercules, but something that I read, and I can't remember what it was. But it's to kill the Hydra, you have to cut it off and then burn it.
Yeah, exactly. I think during our Hercules Remyth episode on Disney's Hercules, also available to our patrons, I made a comment about how Phil doesn't recognize the Hydra. And my comment was like, earlier you said that you trained Perseus. You should recognize the Hydra then. Because I thought that Perseus killed the Hydra. Because Perseus does kill a sea monster. When he goes and rescues Andromeda, he slays a sea monster to save her. And the Hydra is a sea monster. I think that's a thing that modern interpretations tend to leave out. Yes! It's a multi-headed sea monster. That kind of reptilian dragon-like body.
Yeah, okay.
Is like a later embellishment. So yeah, let's talk about the Hydra in Greek mythology.
Yeah, that gives it, like, thinking about it as a sea monster, like, I've now put like fucking dorsal fins and webbed feet on it in my mind.
Ooh, love that design.
Yeah. Okay,
so the Hydra, also called the Lernaean Hydra, because it existed in the waters in a region of Greece called Lerna. Names. The Hydra was the offspring of Typhon and Echidna, according to...
Yeah, that's one hell of a fucking monster.
One hell of a fucking monster, yeah. This is according to, to the Greek poet Hesiod's theology. I'm just saying, the Greek poet Hesiod. And it was a gigantic water snake with usually 9 heads just out the gate.
Jeez.
Other poets would give it like less. You have 7s, you have 3. Other poets would give it like 50. It's just all in.
It just depends on like the order of what like hero had come in contact with it. First hero came in contact, it had one, cut off its head a couple of times, and then died to it. Next hero came in, cut off its head a couple of times, then died to it. Next hero came in, cut off its head a couple of times, then died to it. Just like the whole... And then, like, that would come into question, too. What are you doing?
I'm trying to figure out if you can get to 9. You can. Okay. Well, if you start off 1, you cut it off and then you have 2. You cut it off then 3. You cut it off and then 5. You cut it off and then 7. But if you cut off multiples at once, you'll skip it. So you have to do it just right in order to actually have 9 heads.
Yes. That would also come in, like, if it really was just like a water snake that eventually branched off. What if you cut it off right before the branch?
Yeah, don't cut off the neck, like slice into the body.
Yeah, slice into the body. Would it just grow too?
I don't. Maybe. Okay.
Because when it's got like a body and legs, then you're like, yeah, there's the neck, and obviously you want to cut off the head, so you do that, and then it grows too, and you're like, oh shit, it's a Hydra. How the fuck do I beat it? But then if it's a water snake, and eventually like you lob it off, like if it has 1 and you lob it off, does it just grow 2 more? And then at that point, where's the threshold as to where it'll grow, right? Like if I cut off at like an inch of its tail, would the part that like didn't have the thing, that would die, and then it would just grow 2 from that inch? Or would it just grow 2 tails?
You may have just solved the reason why Hercules has to kill the Hydra the way it does. Let me tell you the story.
Okay.
Let me tell you the story, and then let's circle back. So, as I said, this is one of Hercules' labors. We will eventually do a whole episode about the labors of Hercules, because this isn't actually the first labor that Perseus has had to deal with that Percy has had to deal with in Sea of Monsters alone. The birds from the chariot race are actually a labor of Hercules. He has to go deal with these like birds with like the razor sharp, the Stymphanian birds, which are terrorizing a town, and Hercules goes and deals with that. Like Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson have to fight them during the chariot race at the beginning of the book. But that's not like enough for us to do a full episode on, so we're just gonna put them in a bin and do a whole Labors of Hercules episode with them. But the Hydra's got a lot more shit going on, and we've tended to keep the Hydra with us throughout pop culture, so that's why this gets to happen today.
Yes.
So, Labor of Hercules. He's sent to Lerna to go slay the beast. The Hydra is a, like I said, 9-headed sea monster, and one of its heads are immortal. And every time Hercules cuts off a head, 2 more grow back. Classic Hydra. So as you said earlier, the way Hercules kills it is that he has his cousin
cauterize the fucking wound.
Yes. Some dude named, the cousin, his name is Iolaus. Every time Heracles cuts off one of the heads, Iolaus runs up, cauterizes the wound so it can't grow back. And Hercules cuts it off, and finally he cuts off the head of the Hydra that is the immortal head. But the immortal head doesn't die. So Hercules takes that head, drags it off, and then buries it far away from the body so the head can't regenerate and it can't reattach to the body. So the Hydra is never actually dead. It's like that one villain from Naruto that Shikamaru absolutely fucking destroys. And then has Deer Watch forever.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So here's some fun facts about the Hydra. It, in some myths, is Hera's pet, raised specifically to kill Hercules.
God, of course. That is something that the fucking petty goddess Hera would absolutely do. Oh my god.
Definitely something she would do. Also, during the fight, when it looks like the Hydra is starting to lose, Hera sends another one of her pets, just a giant crab. Just a giant crab to go help.
Of course.
Giant crab friend is not much help because Hercules just crushes it under one of his powerful feet. So I don't know how giant this crab actually was.
I mean, the crab could have been really big, but Hercules is also just really strong.
Yeah, that's true. And you won't have to crush the whole crab. If you just crush it in the right place, you'll take it out.
Yeah.
So that's what happens to the crab. And once the crab and the Hydra are both dead, Hera does put them up in the sky as constellations. So the crab is the constellation of Cancer.
It would be.
Right? Yeah, it would be. I have something else I'm really excited about, and I don't know how to do a cool transition for it. So I'm just going to come out and say it. The Hydra was probably guarding an entrance to the underworld.
Very well could have been. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Lerna...
Entrance somewhere underwater.
Yes, exactly. So Lerna was, in classical Greece, a region of, like, springs and marshes.
Uh-huh.
And it was said that one of the lakes of Lerna, Lake Alcyonian, I practice. Alcyonian, I'm gonna say. So yeah, the bottomless Alcyonian lake was supposed to be an entrance to the underworld. Now this was actually the entrance that Dionysus used when he went to rescue his wife, Ariadne, and then his mother from the underworld. And it would make sense that there would be this, like, something has to guard that entrance. So yeah, it makes sense that maybe the Hydra was meant to guard it, because do you know what other famous multi-headed monstrous creature was also a child of Typhon and Echidna?
Cerberus, I assume?
Cerberus!
Oh my god, nice.
Mm-hmm. So Cerberus has most of the acclaim, but it is very likely that the Hydra's purpose was also to be a guardian of the underworld, because another labeler of Hercules does have him going down and basically, like, wrestling Cerberus and bringing him back out of the underworld. So it's not the first time.
I can't imagine Hades or Cerberus were too happy about that fucking task.
Well, Cerberus wasn't. Hades did give Hercules permission just because he wanted to see if he could pull it off, but he's like, you can't use any weapons. Go.
It's like, yeah, sure, you could do it, but, like, please don't hurt my dog.
Basically, yeah. So he wrestles Cerberus, drags him all the way out, brings him to the king, and the king's like, I hate this, put the dog back. So it's the Hydra is not the last time Hercules will have to deal with underworld stuff, but not what this episode's about at this time. Now, there probably wasn't a bottomless lake to the underworld in Lerna. But there is archaeological and, like, storytelling tradition that suggests that there was a sacred lake, Lerna, in that region. One that was basically, like, the site of various mysteries to Demeter, considering the fact that obviously, like, her daughter Persephone taken to the underworld, this is an interest in the underworld, that would make sense of the area. In fact, I'm bringing it up because I found it super interesting. I found a paper that published in the EGU General Assembly 2020 called Lake Lerna, Investigating Hercules' Ancient Myth. And it talks about how they've used, like, modern geological research to find where this now dried up lake used to be. This, at the time, would have been a freshwater lagoon. But over the centuries, deforestation and silt deposits turned the area into marshland, and mosquitoes love marshland. So once the mosquitoes all moved in, malaria and disease became common in the area, and in the 19th century, they had to drain it for that reason.
Fuck mosquitoes.
Fuck mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes have no fucking point in this world.
I don't like mosquitoes, and if they do have some sort of ecological value, do not add us, we don't care.
Yeah, I genuinely don't give a shit if they do have, like, an ecological... I don't care.
Don't care.
All mosquitoes could be wiped out, and then we could have, like, a fucking global collapse, and I would still be happy.
As long as there are no mosquitoes.
As long as there are no mosquitoes.
Hey man, I'm not gonna argue with you. I also hate mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes fucking suck. God, I hate them.
So, yeah, no more Lake Lerna, but it is cool that there was once upon a time very likely an actual place that people pointed to and could say, yes, that is where Hercules fought the Hydra. And I like that.
I mean, that's how most myths are.
Most,
most Greek myths are like, over there is where this happened, and over there is where this happened. Minos, like, that place, or whatever, like, the kingdom of that guy's thing was.
Crete.
That's a real place.
Yeah. I think that's definitely something that I have forgotten about over the years of how often I heard about these myths and stories, like, growing up.
Is that Greece is a real fucking place.
Greece is a real
genuine ass place. And, like, Sparta and Athens are still standing fucking cities.
Yes. I never doubted that those places were real, but the locations in which myths specifically happened, they feel like yes, England is real, but you have to go to the wardrobe to get to Narnia, and that's where the myth happens. That's where Perseus did fight. That's where Perseus slayed Medusa. That's where Hercules fought the Hydra. Like, they happen. This is a real place, but the actual location is Fantasyland.
Actually, like, probably one of the only places that is Fantasyland is the summit of Mountain Olympus.
The actual kingdom of the gods.
The actual
yes,
kingdom
but
of
the
the
mountain
gods
Olympus
is a fucking mountain.
Is an
and it's
actual
there.
real mountain, yes.
It is there. You can make it to the top probably within like a day.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the, as I said several times by this point, the slaying of the Hydra is one of the labors of Hercules. But not all the labors of Hercules have enough meat surrounding them to merit a full episode. The Hydra, I'd say, is probably going to be one of the few exceptions, largely because
it's very known by like everyone.
Yes.
At this point,
it is one of those myths that has largely been removed from its original setting to stand on its own. I would say, like Medusa, essentially. Like, her myth is she is killed by Perseus, but you could find a Medusa Gorgon in a video game, in a book, in whatever, and not be like, where's Perseus at? You just be like, oh shit, Medusa's here, let's go.
Yeah.
And we see the Hydra in a lot of things.
A ton of things. Holy shit.
There's like Hydra monsters in D&D. There's regular monsters just in basically any media that has a collection of monsters that heroes are gonna fight. Anime, webcomics, movies.
The Hydra will most likely show up.
Big time in video games. You've got Hydra in EverQuest, in Final Fantasy, in Legend of Zelda, in Warcraft, and in
Hades.
Hey, we're bringing it back.
Minecraft.
and
in a mod of Minecraft, but it's still in Minecraft.
Well,
it's pretty great.
Still,
it's a pain in the dick to fight.
Would you like to tell us about the Minecraft Hydra?
Yeah, so it's in the mod called the Twilight Forest.
Okay.
And that mod is pretty cool. It's literally just like a whole nother fucking realm that you get to go through. That's got a bunch of shit. It's never day or night. It's always, well, twilight. And it's always at that time. And it's pretty great. And there are 3 real enemies and real bosses. You got the Lich King, the Naga, and the Hydra. And obviously to kill it, like the Hydra comes out. It looks cool, honestly. Like, it's pretty dope for a Minecraft mod. It comes out, it starts with, I think, like 3 heads, and it'll end with 5. And eventually, when you kill the first 2, it splits off, obviously, to get 5, and then they start dropping. It's pretty great. I do like it a lot. It was a lot of fun. That's all I got there.
Nice. Yeah, I can only speak to the Hydra in Hades, but I'm very excited because now I actually get to speak to Hades.
Yeah.
I put the game. If y'all haven't heard our Hades Remyth bonus episode, also available to our patrons, y'all can go listen to it. It's super fun. We talk a lot about the game and how great it is. But the Hydra in that game is the second boss that you fight on your way out of the underworld. And I think it's my favorite one.
It's a fucking
I think it's super fun.
Boss. I very much enjoy that boss.
Because it's the Bone Hydra.
Yeah,
it's in the underworld. It's dead. Lava. It's just they're basically just, you don't see its body. It's very sea monster because it's just its heads coming out of the lava, and so it's just like fucking.
Fuck! It's in Dragon's Dogma. God, I gotta play that game. I need to finish it. That game is fucking stellar.
Other places where the Hydra's at.
Yeah.
Nice. Yep, I do like it because it's like big bone snake looking head thing, and you go fight it, and when you take it down to a certain point, 3 more appear, and you gotta go kill all of those, and you fight the main head again, and then 6 more appear, and you gotta fight all the little heads, and you can fight the big head again, and it's kind of like in the myth, more and more heads are appearing, but there's one main head that you have to take down in order to beat the Hydra.
Yeah. And that main head's a pain in the dick.
It really, really is.
Just keep showing up.
You were the one who I think pointed out that each of the different heads of the Hydras have certain abilities.
Yeah.
And so it'll cycle through all of them. So the main head will be a different one with different abilities each time you go to fight it. Yeah. And that's really fun, even if it is a pain in the ass.
Wow, this is something stellar. I can't find a list of video games with the Hydra in it. I keep only coming across the fucking Atari Lynx game named Hydra.
Yeah, Hydra was kind of hard to research, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Doesn't even involve the Hydra.
What a weird name. Why is it called Hydra then?
Probably something to do with water.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, yeah, I wanted to go back to the thing you said about how, like, if it's a snake, how can you cut it? How much does it regenerate? Could you not just kill the body? Because I think that would, like, highlight why Hercules doesn't go for the body when he's fighting the Hydra head, or the Hydra. Because he can't. You might very well be, if you cut off its tail, the tail just grows back. Like, you can't just stab it in the body. It'll just regenerate.
Okay.
I think that was something I was reading a lot when I was looking at the Hydra. A lot of people just being like, just attack the body. Like Clarice does. The cannons just blow it up.
The cannons blow it up constantly.
Blow it straight to
blows
target.
it so much that it cannot regen that.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot regen that fucking damage.
But if it's a snake body, like if it's
How are you gonna have ultimate pop culture wiki and then not list any fucking games for the Hydra?
Oh yeah, the Ultimate Pop Culture Wiki is not a good resource for finding things that it appears in pop culture. It literally
Clearly.
is just like the Wikipedia page for the Hydra.
Can I get out?
Go to TV tropes. Search Hydra TV tropes.
There's a lot of those games I haven't played, but a lot of them are on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I need to sit down and start fucking playing through Dragon's Diver because that game plays so good.
I've heard good things.
And it's a stellar one.
But yeah, one of the things when I was researching jumped out. It's like, oh, Hydra and Grand Theft Auto. And I was like, oh shit, is there a Grand Theft Auto game where you find the Hydra? Because I know Grand Theft Auto does weird shit like that. There's a game where you...
No, it's the name of the fucking jet.
Yeah, it's just the name of one of the planes, and it really bummed me out. I'm like, oh, that's not as fun. A lot of things just use the name of the Hydra as, like, because it's a cool name, which I don't blame them.
It's a real life animal that just looks like a Hydra named the Hydra.
Yes. Do you want to talk? I have that one on my notes. Do you want to skip and talk about that? That thing is fucking wild.
I'm into it. I would like to. I don't like that. Ooh, I don't like that.
What are you looking at?
A picture of the Hydra.
Oh yeah, it's upsetting. So the Hydra is actually a genus of small freshwater organisms.
Yeah, it's spooky.
It's spooky. And they call it this species or this genus the Hydra because it has amazing regenerative abilities.
Yeah, it does.
Like if you cut it in half, the tail part will grow a head and the head part will grow a tail. And it's just both of them are fine and still are both Hydras and then just go about its thing. You just slice it and it'll regenerate all of the stuff. And it is super fucking bizarre. Also, they don't seem to age. These creatures, they just don't seem to age at all.
Whoa.
Time does not touch them.
Really? That's fucking cool as shit.
Yeah. And these are real creatures. They live on planet Earth. They are called the Hydra, and they earned that name. I don't know how you kill it. Like, I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's obviously a way. Probably fire. Let's be real here.
Okay, but like, if you were that size, let's say you were you, but you were the size of this little organism, and you had to fight it like you were Hercules fighting the Hydra. I don't know how you kill it.
Who knows?
Because it sounds actually tougher than the mythical. I almost said than the real Hydra. Than the mythical Hydra.
Sorry, I'm watching the reveal of Ghidorah in Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yeah, I heard that one too. Do you want to talk about King Ghidorah?
Sure, dude. Ghidorah looks fucking badass. I've been meaning to watch these new Godzilla movies. I still haven't. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Hydra.
Speaking of Hydra? Oh, you actually...
I have a little statue. It's an incense holder, and it's supposed to, like, come out of his ears and mouths.
Yeah, it's this multi-headed dragon beast. But yeah, it's very Hydra.
Yeah, yeah, it's very cool, and I actually use it when I had cats. They like to get on top of my computer, and for a while it was fine because on the front, because on my old case, the power button was on the front of my computer, so they wouldn't turn it off. Mm-hmm. This new case has it on the top, and they turned it off twice, and I'm like, that's enough of that, and so I took him, and he sat on top of my computer.
Nice.
to like prevent them from sitting down, or at least going like they'll get up there and get behind it, but they'll won't go down where the button is. And now he just sits there because I like it.
That's really cool. Yeah, no, it's just stylish. But yeah, King Ghidorah in Godzilla is modeled after the Greek Hydra, like the multiple heads. And if you cut one off,
maybe not the Greek Hydra because he's got a body and legs and wings.
but like a lot of interpretations of the Greek Hydra has the body. But like if you cut off one of his head, it grows back.
Yeah.
Two more I don't think two more grow back, but one definitely does. And you really, really have to kill him to kill him. He's hard to kill. Here's something I forgot. So in some versions of the myth, the Hydra also like breathes poison.
I like those. Those feel a lot more dangerous.
Yep. So when Hercules fights it, he actually has to cover his mouth, his face in a rag. He's got to wear a mask to keep from breathing in the poison.
Yeah.
And I mention that now because there is a demon from Chinese mythology that is very, very much like the Hydra. And usually, like, our podcast about, like, different things in pop culture. But this one is just similar enough that I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was really cool. The creature was called and I'm going to do my very best to pronounce this accurately, but if I don't, I apologize, and please feel free to tweet at us and tell us the proper way to pronounce this. The Zhangyilu, or the Zhangyiao, was a monstrous 9-headed snake demon that brought flooding and destruction, and its breath spread pollution and decay and spoiled water.
Ooh. Nice.
And yes, its heads, to my knowledge, did not grow back. Did not grow. You cut off one, two more take its place. But it was still a giant, multi-headed snake serpent monster and terrorized China until a great hero slayed it. So,
it's just at that point, the Hydra, feeling bad that he got his ass handed to him by Hercules, left to go terrorize China, and then got his ass handed to him.
And got handed to him again. Probably even quicker. Chinese heroes are no one to fuck around with.
No,
I'm
they
gonna
don't
tell
fuck
you that
around
much.
at all. Holy shit, Chinese heroes. Even like the real ass Chinese heroes that like are real fucking people. They don't fuck around.
No, they don't. The Hydra would not have lasted longer in China than it did in front of Hercules. I can guarantee that much. So, the Hydra is a monster. Great. Fun. Love it. It's got to go to static. I love your description of it as being more water with the fins and the web feet. I think that would be cool if we got to see more water-based Hydra, like as an actual sea serpent.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine how hard that would be to fight from a boat and its heads are coming out of the water, but you can't cut off the necks? And how are you going to cauterize something in the middle of the water?
Who knows? Fire aspected bomb. I don't know.
Something like that. That's actually not a bad idea.
Douse it in gasoline, and when you cut it off, you just throw a fucking torch at it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, not a bad solution. Not a bad solution. I like that. Just set the ocean on fire.
I mean, the Greeks had Greek fire that even water couldn't put out. It just burned until it went out.
Oh, so Hercules really should have just used Greek fire on the thing.
Yeah, essentially.
But I say all this because I think in the current climate of pop culture, in, I would say, specifically America, where we are based, the most common thing that comes to mind when you say Hydra probably isn't the Greek monster or the multi-headed regenerative beast.
No, it's the Hydra from MCU.
Hail Hydra.
Hail Hydra. Yeah, that's, I mean, like, to a lot of people, that's probably just what they think of when they hear Hydra.
And it's definitely something that comes to my head. I love Marvel Comics, and I'm a big fan of the MCU, so obviously Hydra's a big one, which is weird, considering...
And I mean, if you just go to TV tropes and search, or if you just go to Google and search Hydra TV tropes, it fucking gives you lists of different MCU Hydra stuff. And I'm like, all right, come on. And then I had to click on one that's just called Our Hydras Are Different. And then it gave me a list of Hydras. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, geez, this is annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And their real ass Nazi salute that they did, but instead of just one, it was both arms.
Both arms. Well, you cut off its head, 2 more take its place. You got to show double, obvi.
Jeez.
Did you when we talked about this? You pointed out something about the Hydra as like an organization that doesn't make sense.
Oh yeah, their fucking emblem makes no goddamn sense for a Hydra.
No, it super fucking doesn't.
That's an octopus, if anything. It's an octopus with a skull, which is also not an octopus.
Which is also it's a human skull with spooky tentacles.
Yeah, if anything, it's more eldritch horror than fucking Hydra.
It super is. And so, as you do when you host a mythology podcast, I deep dived into internet forums and online wikis to try to figure out why the fuck the Hydra logo looks like that.
Did you find anything?
I did. I found a couple things. So, on one message board that I found, and it's weird to call them message boards because, like, not what I call them, but, like, this was a message board. This was a legitimate, just like an old school message board. Someone pointed out that the Hydra logo isn't an octopus, it's a hexapus. It only has 6 tentacles.
Yeah.
And the reason
the other ones could just be behind the skull.
Well, the reason the person pointed it out is because in 1955 there was one of like the monster horror movies called It Came from Beneath the Sea, and it featured a massive octopus creature, but it only had 6 tentacles, so a massive hexapus terrorizing people. You know, classic B monster movie.
Come to find out, Marvel just also owns that.
Right. And so this person's theory was that, oh, hey, well, we know that Jack Kirby liked to pull things from modern pop culture when, like, doing his designs and the artwork for, like, those early days of Marvel, so he may have been inspired by the hectopus. But this is the same person who also claimed that the Hydra symbol looked very, very similar, and the Hydra organization had a very similar backstory to the, quote, real-world Brotherhood of the Snake. And they did include a picture of... Are you Googling Brotherhood of the Snake?
Yeah, why wouldn't I?
I mean, obviously. So I'm going to drop in the chat just the image that this person included so you can see what the Brotherhood of the Snakes...
This is... I am only getting a 2016 album by Testament.
Yes, you are. I know. Come look at this thing I shared real quick.
Huh.
So this is the thing that the person included in their post, claiming that this is the logo of the Brotherhood of the Snake.
I guess?
Like describe it for our listeners.
So, what it is it's got a dagger, and at the hilt of the dagger, where the cross guard is supposed to be, it's a circle of the Nazi symbol. Mm-hmm. And around that dagger has twin-headed snakes going out of it, and about 2 twin-headed snakes, or just a fucking Hydra, because I only see one tail, really. And then a skull at the end, and it's surrounded by a laurel wreath.
Yeah.
And it looks like it could be like a pin or a badge.
Yeah, it's something. And I can see, like, okay, it's got the skull, got the tentacle snake thing. Like, yeah, maybe. Except, as you just found, if you try to do any research into Brotherhood of the Snake, you're gonna get that album.
Which is pretty rough. Maybe if I just search Brotherhood of the Snake. Yeah, album. It is literally only Testament.
I'm gonna save you a lot of time because I already spent 25 minutes doing this, DJ.
Yeah.
I could find no evidence that any such organization exists or existed at all. Not even on your quality world order conspiracy theory websites could I find any mention of any organization called Brotherhood of the Snake or Brotherhood of the Serpent or whatever. So I don't know what this blogspot picture this person shared is, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say that I don't think it inspired Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, nor do I think the hexapus is what inspired the Hydra symbol.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I had to do more digging. This time, my adventures brought me to Reddit.
Oh, shit. I took it and I decided to see what would happen if I translated it to German and then Googled that.
Uh-huh.
And it looks like I still only got the fucking album.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't think I'm gonna say it's not real. I'm gonna say this is not a real thing. I don't know what this pendant is, but it has nothing to do with anything. So I went to Reddit.
Okay, what'd you find on Reddit?
So on Reddit, I found another similar post of someone asking, what's up with the Hydra symbol? Why does it look like this? And someone presented their own theory. And this theory I find to be a lot more plausible. So they suggested that the Hydra symbol is a reference, allusion, an homage to the organization Spectre from the Bond series. Because the Spectre logo is a weird octopus. Just a weird octopus silhouette.
Yeah, that is... That is strange.
So
It's got octopus and its tentacles obviously resemble knives.
Yeah, so yeah, they look like knives. It's very silly. The organization, so Spectre first appeared in the James Bond novel Thunderball, which was published in 1961, and then they appeared in the movie Dr. No in 1962. I needed to do research into the Hydra timeline. Hydra, as an organization, first appeared in Marvel Comics in Strange Tales number 135, was printed for August 1965. So, evil organization with an octopus logo does predate the introduction of Hydra, but more importantly, when Hydra was introduced, they were not the global superpower Nazi secret puppeteers that they are in the MCU. They were just some kind of basic ass evil organization run by some nondescript businessman named Arnold Brown.
Arnold Brown.
Yep.
What a name.
Yeah, right? Not even a fun name. That's not a Red Skull. That's not a Baron Zemo.
No, it's fucking not, dude. Like, what the fuck? Arthur Brown? That sounds like the kind of name that I'd expect from, like, an accountant.
Right. No Baron Wolfgang von Strucker. Because he wasn't supposed to be important. S.H.I.E.L.D. kills him in that issue and then crushes the organization. So, I can very much get behind the idea that Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were writing a comic book, because the Stranger Things issue number 135 was written by Stan Lee, art by Jack Kirby. And so when you need a villain and you need your organization and you're like, I gotta have a logo, I just watched the new James Bond film. Sure, let's just do a weird octopus thing as like a reference to Spectre. I could find no direct quotes from Stan Lee or Kirby saying that this was true, this is what they did, but I can accept this as like a headcanon. That tracks for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until some years later that Hydra would reappear in Marvel Comics, this time run by Baron von Strucker. And that's when we got the association with Nazis, and that's when we got the association with Red Skull. It was actually one of the very first retcons in the Marvel Comics, is expanding and correcting, like, the legacy of Hydra. I know over the years, it's gotten even more, like, crazy-ass retcons. Like, now the organization has alien origins.
Yeah, like, that's... What?
Really? In pre-human times, a cabal of cold-blooded aliens came to Earth. Planning to start a legacy of evil, and they planted the seeds, and they, like, fucked around in ancient Egypt, and then that split, and eventually you get, you know, Hydra and the Nazis, and, like, Red Skull is the one who first, like, the organization went by different names until it got to Red Skull, who officially resurrected it as Hydra, and then it's just been Hydra the whole time.
Jeez.
So
that's crazy. That's
yeah, right. Comics are weird.
Comics are just getting whack.
They've always been
just
whack.
Like fucking COD zombies when Origins came around. Like, all right, we're changing the whole fucking game, and I'm like, okay, cool. Not a lot of people liked that. I thought it was cool.
So yeah, that's if any of our wonderful listeners knows exactly, very specifically, why the Hydra symbol of the Marvel Comics MCU is, well, no, just of Marvel Comics. Don't come to me and tell me about the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. episode where it's supposed to look like the Hive or whatever, and that's why it looks like that. That's not. I'm not accepting it as canon. None of those S.H.I.E.L.D. characters have appeared in Avengers Endgame, so I don't accept anything that happened in S.H.I.E.L.D. as canon. I'm sorry to all of our S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, if we have any. Not to say there aren't any. I just don't know if you're listening.
That's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. you're talking about with Phil Coulson and...
Yep.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
But if anybody knows, like, legit canon, here's a direct quote from Jack Kirby about why he drew this octopus thing. Yeah, let us know. Love to hear about it.
Yeah, I just, like, the whole... Like, when you were talking and while I was listening, I decided to, like, see if I could pull anything out by searching it in German.
Okay.
And again, all I got were, like, 2 different books. And then, like, 1 link for the Testament. And I'm like, there you go.
Brotherhood of Snake, not real.
Fucking nothing.
Is nothing. Don't know what this weird forum poster was going on about. I couldn't even find respectable conspiracy theories to tell me about this evil organization. So...
Yeah. Where the fuck did this pin even come from? Give me a second. I'm reverse Google image searching it. So, it looks like it is a fan thing for either one of those books that I saw or the Testament. Because everything that I'm seeing... Wait. What the fuck is this one? Well, I found this place called occultsecretsocieties.blogspot.com.
Okay.
And it does have stuff on the Brotherhood of the Snake.
Okay. I feel like you have to dig that deep to find any sort of, like,
fucking
secret society.
deep.
I'm gonna say it's not real. Or they're a really, really good secret society and have managed to really stay off the radar.
Yeah. Look, dude. They've been so far back, way farther than fucking Nazis, as what people are dating these guys at.
I'm gonna say that if they probably didn't inspire Jack Kirby or anything else ever.
Yeah. This is wild.
Oh no, DJ's going down the rabbit hole. Abort! Davis, come back! Tell me how you killed the Hydra.
I don't even know. Like, if I had the skill, I'd just go for the basic slice and torch.
Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's fair.
If I had, like, modern tech, maybe just do what Clarice did and fucking load it up with damage.
Mm-hmm. Aim for the body.
Yeah. Or the layout of proper, and then I just do what Disney's Hercules did and have it fucking crushed under a rock.
Oh, that's right. We didn't even talk about that. When in Disney's Hercules, he just keeps cutting heads off because...
And then we get that really cool CG scene of all those fucking heads.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's pretty dope.
Wonder Boy is charming, but he's not very bright.
No, he's not. And then he manages to crush it with a big old fucking side of a cliff.
Yeah. And somehow got in its claw.
I have no idea.
Like, yeah, he like, everything crushed, and like, oh, and the limb of the Hydra flops out, and they're like, oh no. And then Hercules forces I believe I remember correctly, he forces the claw open and climbs out so he didn't get crushed.
Yeah.
I don't know at what point in time the Hydra grabbed him, but okay.
Well, he was like pushed against the wall.
Oh, that's right.
And so that's how he managed to fucking slam it.
Because he was hitting the wall to get the rocks to fall. Tight. All right, you know what? I stand corrected. He's, you know what? Not a lot of wisdom, but pretty high intelligence.
Yeah.
I think that's the right
Well,
move.
The first time it grows heads back, I think you should realize I probably shouldn't cut heads off.
Yeah.
I don't think that comes from wisdom.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's just... Was that like passive perception?
Probably.
You should be smart enough to figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Whoa, how'd that happen? I don't know. You cut a head off and 2 more grew back. That's weird. I'm not going to make any connection between those 2 actions.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Anyway, let's just do it again. It feels like, please stop. Why are you doing this?
Would you stop cutting heads off?
Yeah, I think you probably could have given him some sort of, like, critical thinking tests in between the various running and jumping activities we were doing on the island.
Yeah, it's cool because like what I read about like that dragon's dogma, the only way to kill it is if you have like fire aspected swords or like fires in use. Because then like if you a lightsaber would fucking immediately cauterize that wound.
Absolutely.
I can't think of much more.
No, I think kill the Hydra with the lightsaber is as good as we're gonna get today.
Yeah, I think that's like the best.
That's a peak. We did it.
And then just follow Hercules' lead or just like trap the fucking immortal head in something. Bury it, trap it, something.
Follow Clarice's lead, go for the... You know what? I think we've learned today that there's actually a lot of ways to kill the Hydra. You just gotta get a little creative.
Yeah.
Never underestimate the importance of creativity, kids. It'll take you a long way.
Oh, it certainly will. Well, that's all we got for this episode.
That is everything. Hey y'all. Please don't tweet at us about the Brotherhood of the Snake. I don't want to hear about it. I don't tweet us about anything else. I don't want to hear about secret evil organizations. I don't care. Yeah. But tweet us about anything else you want to do. I'd love to hear from you, just not about that.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, this has been super fun. We will be back on, I say slowly as I pull up
the 27th.
No.
This comes out on the 13th.
No.
That's what you said. Or no, 17th. We'll be back the 3rd.
No.
Of September. Yeah.
Nope.
31st.
There you did it!
I kept adding numbers.
Tuesday?
Tuesday the 31st. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Do you want to tell them what the episode's going to be about? Or?
You have that list.
I know, but Davis, you seemed very adamant that you wanted to take over this part of the podcast, so I was just going to let you. I was going to be a supportive
well, what's the
co-host.
episode about, Darien?
Episode is going to be about, I don't know, I don't have my document up. That's what I was trying to do when I was talking slowly. When I was talking so slowly, I was pulling up the drive. Oh, Avi. It's going to be about Charybdis and Scylla. We're going to talk about more sea monsters.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. More sea monsters.
Talking sea monsters. Hey, DJ, I love sea monsters, though. Like, have I told you
Sea monsters are great.
Are, in fact, my favorite species of monster because I'm afraid of water.
Sea monsters are great because, well, we haven't been able to disprove them yet.
Yeah, and that's why I'm scared of water. Also, fish. Fuck fish.
I love eating
fish.
Big.
I don't like seafood, but fish get too... catfish. A catfish can get big enough to swallow a human adult.
It can.
Fuck catfish. Fuck
I mean, that's what happens when you're not bound by gravity, really, and you just can eat. Lobsters are effectively immortal. It's just when they get older, like when they just continue to grow, right? They are effectively immortal. Problem is that the older we get, the harder it is to expend energy, and molting their shell expends a lot of energy. So when they molt their shell, they expend a ton of energy, and then when they get older, when they do that, they just die. But if they had a bottomless energy, they're effectively immortal, and they can fucking grow so big.
Oh god, okay, well we're gonna talk about...
I think like the biggest lobster is like upwards of 100 pounds or something like that.
Jesus Christ, lobsters are also sea monsters. Okay, all things in the ocean are actually monsters, but especially Charybdis and Scylla, and we're gonna talk about it on Tuesday, August 31st. We will catch up with y'all then. 44
pounds, I was wrong, but it's the size. It's like the size of your average child.
That's too big. Okay, we're done with the episode. I'm done thinking about fish. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate your support and your time. Thank you so much. Don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Or fish. Podcast of Poseidon is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor, the Crystal Con Man. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain, and our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Like the show? Ready for more? Support Podcast of Poseidon on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Find out more at patreon.com/podcastepisode.
Can't spare the drachmas? You can support the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcast or by sharing us with your friends. Find all of our episodes and episode transcripts at podcastaposeidon.com.
Thanks for listening.